Protech Shock Sports Specials Championship. The revs are starting to rise, the red lights go on, and they go out, and away we go. It's a pretty even start between the two front row drivers, but as he accelerates away from the line, bit of wheel spin it looked like for Andy Hiley there as they head up in towards Rich's corner for the first time. Is it going to be Hiley or Collingwood that turns in first? It looks like it might be Collingwood in the number 11 Eclipse that has the advantage over the rest of them. That's Paul Martin Gambler, you could just see going through shot, but yes, it is Paul Collingwood with the lead, and Paul Boyd going through into second place there as well as they went up into the Wilson hairpin that time. So the pole position driver Andy Hiley has gone back down to third position. Looks like Clive Hudson is there in fourth spot, and in fifth place at the moment that looks like the Stuart Thompson, the MK Indy car, doesn't it, as one of the Mavs pulling off.
Yeah, that's right, Ian. So not the best of starts for Andy Hiley. You say he has 4 wins this year, not quite as dominant as last year. There's a big look up there from one of the Mavs there into the hairpin at Agostini. It's very busy, a great grid here for the sports special. 30 cars, I think, so a great way to end off the season with a great range of kit car type cars. There's number 17, that is Paul Boyd. He dropped back behind Hiley, so he's back down to third place. So Hiley fighting his way back past one of the Eclipses there. And then in fourth place, Clive Hudson just dropping away. And then a range of cars behind battling away for fifth position, including some of the slower Class A cars and the Class C Mevs. One of them is another Mev that's gone off, isn't it? That's 42, which is Darren Griffin, who started right in the middle, 15th on the grid, but he'll be able to rejoin after that spin at the Williams corner there. But the race leader's already at the end of the straight with Paul Collingwood ahead of Andy Hiley.
Yes, indeed. So we're working the first lap of this race here at Snetterton. The leaders are at Corham for the first time. It is number 11, Paul Collingwood, that has the lead at the moment. Paul Boyd back to second place, Andy Hiley third, Clive Hudson fourth, and it's Austin Greenway, I think, that's up into fifth position now. Stuart Thompson back in sixth, and Anton Landon, twice a winner this season, the number 64 Sander, he's back in seventh place. We'll try and pick up on what's the situation in Class B as well as this race goes on, but Collingwood leads by 1.82 seconds at the end of the first lap of this race. Another 3/10 back behind Paul Boyd is Andy Hiley, and Hiley, I'm sure, will be looking to charge back ahead of Boyd and get on terms with Collingwood here, who's had a few issues, Collingwood, as the race season's gone on. That was Steve Wells just going through shot and going quite deep into the hairpin there was Clive Hudson.
Okay, Class B being led by Adam Cottrell, I think, in his Caterham. But big battles going on here. Gary Goodyear amongst them, returning and going well here, isn't he? In 8th position after a lap of racing. So got the best we've seen that car go this season as Hiley dives up the inside of Paul Boyd into the Agostini hairpin, breaks late and goes through back into second. We've done this once already, and then Paul Boyd got back ahead. So we'll see what happens this time. If Hiley can hang on in second place and perhaps go after Paul Collingwood. He was on pole by a couple of seconds. Another incident involving another Mev and a damaged car there. Is that Rob Johnston's Sayana?
It could be, yes, it could well be. That was, yeah, it could be him because he was in 11th position, quite close with Stuart Much, I think. So those two that came together possibly. Leaders onto the Bentley Straight once again. They come through Williams. That's the Martin Gambling car coming through. How far did he get? He got up to 17th place on the opening lap. That's the number 7 car of Stuart Much. Oh yes, that does rather lend support to the fact that he was involved in that incident with Rob Johnston, number 82.
So in qualifying, Andy Hiley was 2 seconds faster than Paul Collingwood, which would suggest he'll be able to catch him, but doesn't always work out like that. And the race leader, there he is, Paul Collingwood, has been caught
yes,
by Andy Hiley, but Paul Boyd is going with him, so it's free for the lead into Murray's at the end of 2 laps.
Yes, so you've got 3 of them right together. Number 11, Paul Collingwood. Then it's Andy Hiley in the blue and white cross, and then the second of the Eclipses is number 17, Paul Boyd, the yellow car. Up and over the line they will come. It's Hiley right in the turf, Collingwood, but Boyd's going to the left-hand side of the circuit. Tucks back in behind them now as they head towards Rich's corner, and they all go through in single file there through the right-hander at the beginning of the lap. It's Hudson still there in 4th place, and 5th is that one, but we've got a change for the lead. It's the 53 car that's gone through. Hiley has taken the lead away from Paul Collingwood on the brakes for the Wilson hairpin, and Paul Boyd is trying to get past Paul Collingwood as well, and he has done it before they even get to Palmer.
All makes you question whether all is well with Collingwood's car again. As you say, that car's been a little bit temperamental this season. He has had a win and a couple of second places, but not much more. Sitting 15th in the overall championship. Heading here to Snetterton, Clive Hudson in 4th, Boston Greenway in 5th, both being caught by Anton Landon, who's been having a good season. 3rd in the championship, 2nd in Class A, coming here after a couple of wins. Not going quite so well here, but it looked like he was catching the 2 in front. But there's Paul Boyd, who's going after Andy Hiley, the race leader, out of Oggie's corner, with Paul Collingwood still there in P3.
In Class B, it's Adam Cottrell's Caterham that's leading, but Brad Snow now ahead of Steve Wells for 2nd position within that class. Steve Wells doing battle with Warren Vesey, and there's only one car between them now as far as the Class B is concerned in the championship. So that's quite a lively little scrap for the Class B title going on as well. That's Gary Goodyear's car. You could just see going through the sort of day glow coloured car.
Adam Cottrell, the Class B leader, by the way, and his first lap was a 2.5 underneath the lap record. Is that Steve Wells slow in? Yes, it looks like it might be.
Yeah, so Steve Wells possibly in problems there. Wouldn't have expected him to fall behind Brad Snow, and he's not particularly quick along the Bentley Straight there, is he? So I think Steve Wells, unfortunately, the driver from the Isle of Wight, a little bit of strife here. Meanwhile, the leaders out of Murray's.
And Wells has got no points to drop, so this race has to count.
Yes, exactly. I think Vesey has got lots of scores that he can drop. He's been very consistent this season, although he's not really, I don't think, won the class at all, has he, during the course of this year? He had one class win, yeah, that's it, out of the 10 races that we've had so far. So 8.25 minutes of the race left to go, probably 4 more laps then.
Martin Gambling's well up the field, isn't he? Just come across the line from the back of the grid to the top 10 after, 3 laps, so that's pretty good.
He is, yes, 2:08 for him that time, so he's sort of lapping around about the same place as the cars just ahead of him now. That is the 74 car, just behind 72 now, so he's dropped a long way down the order, has Steve Wells. The 72 car is that of David Barrow in his MK Indy, and he's not inside the top 20, is he?
Yeah, he's crawling across the line, Steve Wells. That's just trying to score some points because it's needed. Up front, Andy Hiley not far ahead of Paul Boyd still, 7/10 after 3 laps. It should be another 7-lap race, like I think all the 15-minute races pretty much have been. Here's car number 13, which is the Colin Childs Rob Johnston Racing Sayana, and he is running just outside the top 10. He was passed by Martin Gambling, who's just up the road there, pulling away.
Gary Goodyear made up a few places on that lap up to 12th position, having dropped back on the previous lap. So he's lapping a bit quicker than Colin Childs. There's 7 minutes left to go in this Protech Shock Sports Specials penultimate round of the championship here. And that is the 46 car. That's Warren Vesey. So he's the driver in the bright green car that stands to gain the Class B championship if all doesn't go to plan for Steve Wells this weekend. He's only won the class on one occasion during the course of this season, 3 seconds and 5 third-place finishes, but he has been consistently picking up the scores, hasn't he, Josh?
That's right. There's Paul Boyd. Oh, Andy Hiley's so far ahead of him. He was out of shot. So Hiley's absolutely gone away on lap 4. A 2:03.99 is his lap time, and that is a new lap record. That's a quarter of a second under his best from last year. And Anton Landon, the other Class A driver involved in the championship, has got damage and is for the pit lane, which is a real shame for him after, what we were saying, a good season.
Yes, he's third in the points indeed coming into this weekend, and a great shame that he's got some damage there. Hopefully he'll be back out for the second race later on. Martin Gambling just went through shot there, up to 8th place now.
Austin Greenway's not come through either, so whether Greenway and Landon have got involved in an incident here.
It's possible, isn't it?
They were pretty close together on the track. That means Brian Chandler's up to 5th now in the MEV. 6th is Stuart Thompson, and 7th is the first of the Class B cars, Adam Cottrell in that Caterham, making his debut with the 750 Motor Club, I think, this weekend. 2:08.7 now, so that's 2.5 seconds under the previous Class B lap record. I think this is Brian Chandler that we're looking at, yeah, the Class C leader, who turns his way into the hairpin. I think he had a outing in this car at Brands Hatch and was a race winner in the class then. Now at his local circuit and going well inside the top 5.
Yeah, classes, by the way, they're based on power to weight ratios. A lot of the 750 Motor Club Championships are up to 340 brake horsepower per tonne in Class A and 270 brake horsepower per tonne in Class B. So the sort of pale green colours on the timing tower, that's Class A cars. Class B are red, Class C are blue. For the purpose of the timing tower on the Alpha live stream. Just watching number 27 go through, that's Andrew Hayward, and he's in 14th. He's in this battle with Warren Vesey. They've got also one of the MEVs involved as well. I think that could be Mickey Scott, I think, couldn't it? The number 58 car that's involved in that battle as well.
Warren Vesey's running in 5th place, so this is actually going to be one of his drop scores, I think. So despite being in a beneficial place as this championship battle goes, it's actually one of his worst races of the year on position anyway, within that particular class. So things, despite having this big grid, have spread out a little bit, haven't they, as Andy Hiley completes 5 laps now. That was a slower lap, but still quicker than those behind. He's gapped 3.5 seconds. There's Austin Greenway's car, isn't it, on the just on the grass at Coram. So
yes.
That would have been quite a fast place if that's where they made contact. There's the Class B leader. That's Adam Cottrell. He's just got Martin Gambling behind him. Gambling from the back of the grid is now into 8th position. He hasn't lapped as quick as the other Eclipses, though. Boyd, Collingwood and Hudson a little bit quicker than what he has been, but he's going to get 7th. That extra power from Class A moves him ahead of Adam Cottrell in towards the Ritchie's corner there.
Just worth mentioning, number 52, Andrew Grant's got a 10-second penalty. That'll have been for jumping at the start of the race.
Yeah, he was supposed to start at the back, I think, because he was excluded in qualifying, so I'm not sure if there should have been.
Position start, possibly.
Yeah. Anyway, he's been working his way up the order because he's 2nd in Class B, isn't he? He's got himself up ahead of Brad Snow. Warren Vesey's 4th now, so he's got ahead of Andrew Hayward, or they were pretty much side by side, I think. So there's Gambling, now in 7th position. He's got Stuart Thompson a couple of seconds ahead, so he might be able to catch him. Yeah,
top 6 could be on the cards here for the former low-cost and compact cup racer. And so we watch the number 79 car. That's Sylvia Much in her MEV XZ. She's 2nd in the Class C standings coming into this weekend. But there's Gary Goodyear in the number 56 car, who sort of had some time away from racing in kit cars and sports specials as it's since become, but he's back into it now. And he is in 10th position at the moment.
He had that Class B car of Andrew Grant just behind him. Andrew Grant, who might be able to actually pull away 10 seconds to the rest of the competition in Class B, so that penalty won't affect him too much. But we shall see. The race leaders, they're coming up across the line shortly with a potentially smaller gap here, Hiley to Boyd. We said Hiley's lap time previously wasn't as good as it was before, but perhaps Boyd's getting a little bit too close for comfort now. In the 6s was Hiley, but best that Boyd's done all day, I think, there. Yeah, 2:04.8 brings the gap to within 2 seconds.
With 2 laps to go, yeah.
We're going to squeeze 2 more in, are we?
Yes, I would think so, because it was about 2 minutes 10 when they started the final lap.
Yeah, these cars, of course, a bit quicker than some of the others we've got this weekend, so 8 laps we should get in here.
Right,
Stuart Thompson's been caught, hasn't he, there by Martin Gambling, so we thought 6th might be on, and 6th might be taken by the time they get to Ritchie's here.
He's going to get the car up the inside, I think, of Stuart Thompson in the MK Indy, from a championship winning car, and he does indeed go through just Martin Gambling to take the position as they start their penultimate lap then. Standards flag being prepared for someone by the looks of it as well. That's Gary Goodyear, just gone across the line. He in 10th position, just ahead of Andrew Grant on the road. So, got just over a minute of the times element of the race left. That is the number 29 car that you can see on screen there. So that is Justin Cox in his Caterham 7. He's in 18th position overall at the moment.
I think that's something like 7th in Class B.
There's Martin Gambling, number 99, as we said, he got through ahead of Stuart Thompson, going into Ritchie's at the start of this penultimate lap of the race, so he's there in 6th spot now. Gambling in 7th, but I don't think they'll catch Brian Chandler, who's about, 8.5 seconds up the road.
Okay, so Hiley, see if his lead's coming down at all, because it did on the previous lap to 1.9 seconds. Battle's carrying on a bit further back, though.
That was David Barrow chasing after the stalwarts in Sports Specials, Nigel Brown.
I think Hiley's picked his pace up, if anything, because that gap hasn't come down anymore, just seeing them cars turning through Coram. But the 3rd place car, Paul Collingwood's a long way behind now, but he's still there in 3rd. So the top 2, much quicker than the rest, really, here. Andy Hiley then across the line to start the final lap of this race, the first of 2 races this afternoon for Sports Specials. Actually, the gap did come down a little, 1.6 seconds between those two. That was a very problematic car there.
That's smoky, isn't it? It's pulled off, thankfully. Just trying to work out who that is, but they're off the circuit now, so hopefully any fluid's gone down, it's not going to cause a big problem.
Yeah, a few cars to pick up after this, and the battle for 7th place has changed now because Adam Cottrell's ahead of Stuart Thompson. So the Caterham 7 goes ahead there of the MK Indy. So Thompson down to 8th. He started the lap in 6th, but he's got more power. He's a Class A car, so he goes back ahead down the centre straight to start their final lap of the race. Meanwhile, a bit further back, another Class A versus B battle here because you've got Gary Goodyear and Andrew Grant together on the road.
Meanwhile, Andy Hiley continues to lead by 1.7 seconds from Paul Boyd. The gap goes down by another quarter of a second that time. There's fourth place driver, Clive Hudson, number 15. And he's sort of in no man's land really between Paul Collingwood in 3rd and Brian Chandler in 4th position. Off the road briefly there goes the number 27 car, that's Andrew Hayward and his Silver Clubman, the drive from just down the A14 in Kettering. So coming towards the end of this race now, we've got the leader coming towards us here along the Bentley Straight. Paul Boyd 1.7 seconds behind at the start of the lap, so probably a little bit too far back to do anything about Andy Hiley, who with this result, an overall win and a class win, will wrap up not only the Class A Championship but the overall title as well, helped of course by Steve Wells hitting problems in this race. So Andy Hiley, it will be that takes his second Sports Specials title in a row. He's been a multiple kit car champion as well over the years. Kit cars which sort of preceded Sports Specials and when it was rebadged a few years ago. But Hiley, the Yorkshireman, comes through. Murray's now being pursued by Paul Boyd in the Eclipse, but the Kronos comes up to the line. And the checker flag is made ready. There it is. And it's going to be Andy Hiley that wins the race. Round 11 of the Protech Shock Sports Specials Championship. He wraps up the title as well. And Paul Boyd, in the end, just under a second behind him, doing his personal best lap on the final lap of the race.
Much further back is Paul Collingwood. I think he's got some kind of issue. The car doesn't sound great, but he's going to hang on to a podium. I mean, an exhaust problem, I think. Clive Hudson comes through, though, in 4th place on his return over the last few meetings. And then Brian Chandler could drive to 5th. He takes the checkered flag now. And over the course of that race, he set a new lap record in Class C, actually on the last lap, 2:07.41, slightly quicker than what Stuart Much has done in the past. Across the line there to win in Class B on his debut is Adam Cottrell in his Caterham 310R. And a new lap record on the last lap, 2:08.73. Second place in Class B, despite a penalty, should go the way of Andrew Grant in another Caterham. He comes up across the line now. Now a sunny Snetterton, after all the cloud we had earlier. And then for 3rd in Class B, should go the way of Brad Snow, who's got a bit of a gap now over Warren Vesey. Yeah, so Warren Vesey will take the points for 4th, but Steve Wells a non-finisher, so that swings the advantage in favour of Warren Vesey in Class B as they go into the final round of the championship. We'll confirm all of that later on. But Andy Hiley taking the win by 0.96 seconds and therefore doing enough to wrap up the championship as well, as the Protech Shock Sports Specials has its final meeting of the season here at Snetterton. Yeah, so I think Warren Vesey now is 8 points ahead of Steve Wells, so he can still equal Vesey's score. Nigel Brown and David Barrow for 19th and 20th position, battling all the way to the line. They're in different classes. Nigel Brown in Class A, David Barrow in the number 72 MK Indy RR is in a Class B machine. They come over the line in 19th and 20th, having had a very good race. So just a few more cars to come through on a sunny afternoon here at Snetterton now. And confirmation there, you can see number 53, Andy Hiley, it was that took the victory from number 17, Paul Boyd in 2nd place. Paul Collingwood, number 11, is in 3rd. Clive Hudson, 15, took 4th position. Then Brian Chandler winning Class C in 5th place, number 76. 6th to number 99, Martin Gambling from the back of the grid, a good drive from him. 7th to number 30, Stuart Thompson. 8th, number 80, Adam Cottrell, winner of Class B. 9th, number 13, Colin Charles. And 10th was number 56, Gary Goodyear. So that's the top 10. In 11th place, it was 52, Andrew Grant, 2nd within Class B.
Then a couple more Class C Mevs, Mickey Scott 58 and Darren Griffin 42. Then Brad Stone, number 77, was third within Class B. And Warren Vesey, you can see, fourth within the class, which is good for his championship hopes. And further back, you see there that we had a few non-finishers: Colin Benham, Anton Landon, Steve Wells, crucially for the Class B championship. Austin Greenway, we think there was an incident there with Anton Landon, although we didn't see it. We also lost Trevor Harbour, Stuart Much, and Rob Johnston as well during the course of that race. Those two latter drivers certainly did tangle. So that's the results of the Protech Shock Sports Specialist race. They're out again at around about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Still plenty more racing to come before then, but they're ready in Parc Ferme. So let's head down to Matt Suckling with our race winner.
Thanks very much, Ian. Yep, down here with our race winner from that sports special race, which is Andy Hiley. Andy, many congratulations on the win. We understand it's Class A champion and also the overall champion after that result.
Yes, I believe so. I think I just needed a third, and a win's good enough, isn't it? So yeah, I'm happy with that one.
So another title for you. How does it feel? You excited? You're raring for another season?
I am ready for next season. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it again. Yeah, that's what I come for. I enjoy it, and yeah, it's fantastic.
And in terms of that race, it was hard work because you didn't get the best of starts. You had to work your way back through the field.
No, no, you're right. I had to work my way back through it. Paul was. He's very experienced, this Paul, so he knows just where to put his car to make it awkward for you to try and get by him. But eventually, I found a way. So yeah.
Still got another race to come, of course, before the season's done. That's coming up a little bit later on. What do you reckon you can do? Another victory to end the year in style?
Well, we'll try, but you never know, do you? You never know.
And have you enjoyed the season? It's been a big grid here at Snetterton, but overall this year, you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I have enjoyed it, yes. Yeah, it's been a good season. There's been plenty of winners, which always makes it good for everybody. So, yeah, it's been a good season.
Well, good luck for race 2 and good luck for next season, whatever you choose to do.
OK, thanks very much.
There we go. Andy Hiley, the winner then of the first sports special race here today at Snetterton. More to come a little bit later on. But for now, we're going to turn our attention to the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatch Championship. And it looks like Ian is joined by Paul Thorpe.